Good evening, and thanks for joining us for another episode of What's Your Story? Tonight we are sitting down with Kristen Kuehnle, who owns a local bookstore here in town called Fine Print Booksellers. And prior to owning Fine Print Booksellers, you have done many things in your life. So we usually, first of all, welcome.
Thank
for
you.
Being here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And we want to know where you got your beautiful necklace.
Actually, at a tribe out in Tucson, Arizona, there's a woman there who takes all of pawn jewelry and makes it into a complete new necklace.
Oh, wow.
So all the jewelry on here, it's all sterling and it's all pawn.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And I bet it all tells a story.
It does.
So, well, maybe we can hear about it after we get to know you from maybe a little bit about your childhood.
I grew up in the Midwest outside of Chicago. Mm-hmm. I was an avid reader. To me, going to the library was the greatest treat in the world. And that's how I would spend most of my time. And on holidays, in fact, I was just thinking about Christmas. On holidays, my parents would give me a stack of books. And I mean, I was like in second grade. I just would go into the bedroom with a stack of books and read. And for most of my life, I probably avoided people reading books. But I moved in the 60s when there was the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the 60s, moved up to Michigan and then moved out to Boston. Came in 1970 and never left.
Yeah.
I got used to the ocean.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've always been an avid reader. Have run multiple book groups, mystery book groups, regular book groups.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. And I love talking to people about books. The best part about owning the bookstore is everybody comes and you end up talking about books. And it's like, oh yeah, and I haven't, oh, is that what that's about? I think I'll get that. And it's just a really nice atmosphere.
Yeah, it's really fun to be able to, light somebody up with, that's kind of how we feel here too when we give somebody a book. And you hope the next time you see them, they're not going, looking away, like running from you.
Well, actually, I ask them, and I have had people tell me why they didn't like it.
Ah.
And I'm quite willing to say, well, other people haven't liked it for that reason, but then for this reason, this is kind of the redeeming quality to it.
Yep.
So it's like, with everything, it can be negative. It wasn't exactly what they're looking for, but...
Mm-hmm. And we have found that in the book group that you and I are in together, that sometimes people really, it can be, really extremes as to why someone loves something or does not at all.
I'm looking forward to the one on tomorrow night.
Yeah, that'll be a good discussion. So I'm going to back up a bit. When you were in Boston, you had a career.
No, I did. I went to college.
You went to college, okay. All right.
I went to BU undergrad, Northeastern, and I actually ended up getting 2 masters there, and I got my doctorate from Harvard.
Okay. And what was that in?
In human development, developmental psychopathology. And I was licensed to be a clinical psychologist and worked at Mass General for 20 years.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that was and there's a lot of forensic work with that.
Did you do criminal justice?
Yes, forensic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, that's when I left. When there were the layoffs with insurance and not bringing in research money, I jumped track and I went to the academic field, and it was criminal justice was my best fit since I was, this is interesting. I hate to say you put me in a spot where I can see everybody who comes into the library. I'm curious, yes. What are they reading? What are they going to get? And I finally retired 6 years ago from Salem State. I was there for 20 years.
Yeah. So the forensic work, like what did you do? What was a typical day?
Oh, it was child abuse and sexual abuse, and it was early childhood.
Wow.
And then it got into juveniles, and then, because Mass General was right by Charles Street Jail, at the time we did mental states at the time of the offense.
Okay, wow.
So it was a wide range.
Must have been hard to sleep at night.
No, the only time it became hard to sleep at night is when a perpetrator was released from prison and came up to kill my kids.
Oh boy.
He was a pedophile.
Oh my.
And we caught him with his daughter who was only 18 months. And to make a long story short, he was in the service, so he ended up spending some years in the prison.
Yeah.
The minute he got out, he headed up north.
Wow. Oh my
So
gosh.
then it was kind of like, I really don't think I'm going to miss it. And then when I'd get the phone calls, Dr. Kuehnle, here's Jeremy. He wants to jump off the roof. He needs to talk to you. And it's like, it's not at supper time.
So that's
You get burnt out.
yeah. But you did that for a long
20 years.
time. Yeah. God bless you, because it really can. I mean, you have to have thick skin and be able to diffuse.
Or you have to have common sense and be able to diffuse situations. And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
If you panic, if you get upset, if you show any fear, you're in trouble.
And they can sense that. And then, yeah. You mentioned kids, so you have two?
2 sons.
Okay. And do they live around here?
No, one lives in Kenya. He works for USAID. He's the health officer for Kenya.
Oh, wow.
And he's running actually President 43's PEPFAR program in Kenya, and he ran it in Zambia and in South Africa.
Oh, how nice.
And so he has a year and a half left.
Yep.
And then maybe he'll come stateside because he's been in Africa for a long time.
Yeah. Have you been able to get over there?
Yeah, I've been to Zambia, I've been to Cape Town, I've been to South Africa. I haven't been to Kenya. I don't know if I'll make it to Kenya, though it's easier to get into Kenya. It's a shorter airplane flight.
Yeah. And where's your other son?
He lives in Connecticut. He runs a hedge fund.
Okay.
His dream job.
Yeah.
So one is in money and the other is in doing good deeds.
And hopefully they'll balance each other out as time goes on.
Exactly
Wow.
right.
Wow, that's and grandchildren?
Yep. John, who's in Kenya, has Emma and Trey, and they are 12 and 10. And then Sage, Chris and Sarah have Sage, and he'll be 2 in February.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's great. So you have, I've seen them here. I mean, I think they're able to come and visit you, which is a really good thing. And they don't just come for a few days. I mean,
No,
they come
it's
for
a huge
blocks
chunk of time.
Yeah.
Except they won't do that this summer
Yeah.
or Christmas.
But I bet having that chunk of time helps you, get to know them a little bit more.
It's really nice
time.
having them around. This year, my daughter-in-law's from Nicaragua, so her whole family came in groups. That was a little...
Yeah, a little hectic.
Right. It's like when you have company too long.
Yeah, that's right. It's like fish or something.
Yes, yes.
That's all we'll say. Can you talk a little bit about how you came to open the bookstore?
Well, I own the property. It's a commercial unit, and I had a consignment store in there, and then I had a partnership with a regular retail store, and I found it very boring. And I love to read, and my kids kept on saying, "Open a bookstore." There really isn't a bookstore, and at that point, there wasn't.
Yeah.
So I figured, okay, let me try this and see how it's been go ever since.
Yeah. It's such a very bright. It's nice and cozy, but you've got so many wonderful choices, and you have a very small space. So
We do. We have
so
like
it must
800.
be tough to.
Yes. And so I really, in curating that's the hardest job, is curating the collection. So when people come in and say, "You've done a beautifully curated collection here, we really like it," that's the greatest compliment.
I would agree, and you have, the children's section, the main section, the trying to get new authors in so people can.
Well, I wish I could do, right now I wish I could have more author events. I don't feel comfortable in this space.
Well,
it's a little too small, and there's not parking.
Yeah, but you work with us here at the library.
That's right, sponsoring
And,
events.
Yeah,
yes.
so maybe that's something that we can work on in the future to do more. Who would you like? So you've been kind enough to help us with who we want to come. So, but that would be be fun to work on something like that. Do you see, especially in the summertime, you see the same people coming in?
Oh yeah, I have
Repeat
because
customers?
I have a repeat buyers club,
Yeah.
a frequent buyers club. And when you spend $100 on regularly priced books, $10 comes off your next purchase.
Oh, that's very nice.
And I have over 300 people in the buyers club.
That's great.
And I wish I could get more kids in. That's the only thing. And it's a little hard because it's not parking. Their parents have to bring them, except for the kids that come on a bike.
Right. And we should say that your store is located right down in Dock Square.
Right by the Candyman, beach grass, and local color.
Yep. So pretty easy to get to. What are your hours these days?
Right now, I've tried to stay open 6 days a week, 10 to 4.
Yep.
And that allows me time to make appointments on the day I'm closed. But then I play it by ear. Like today, I'm waiting for a shipment, so that's why I parked where I parked.
Yeah.
Because the shipment didn't come in. I thought it was coming in yesterday, and now it's coming in today. So I park for, and I end up going in 7 days a week. But it's okay, because it's like I find out new books. And what's really nice is you go to a lot of conferences. And you meet authors, and you are able to find some interesting books.
What do you use for your resources when you're trying to make a purchase of books? What are your
I primarily use Ingram.
Okay.
Because I can return, there's some return policy, and I'm more comfortable just working with ones. I try to make it as easy as I can for myself.
Yeah. Do you look at a lot of trade journals and figure out?
Yes. Publishers Weekly, Ingram, New York Times bestseller list.
Yeah.
The New Yorker, any magazine I'm reading and they make recommendations. I look to see if it's a good fit. And going to conferences, because they're generally twice a year,
Right.
you get a sense of what's coming out.
Yes.
And I get a lot of emails from publishers coming out of the conference. So I spend a lot of time reading and seeing if there's a fit.
When I met you down at the Book Expo a few years ago in New York City, I think we both left there with bags and bags of, because you get the advanced reader copies. And that's another way to look at something 6 months ahead of time, because they give you that opportunity to read it, and you might pass on 50% of those, but sometimes it's.
Oh, this last conference I went to in October was the New England chapter of the ABA. And I found a book, Hester, which I'm just absolutely loving.
Oh, good.
It's a retelling of the Scarlet Letter as to why Hawthorne may have written it. Now, I retired from Salem State. I lived for 20 years in Salem. I knew the street Hardy, even the house Hardy Wadsworth was born on, Hardy Street. And I know all the areas going around, so it was.
So that really hit home. I love when stories hit you like that, and you know exactly where they're talking about, and
And the witch trials, it goes into the witch trials. And I used to teach a course every fall, legal anthropology. And so, come October, the witch trials were a major lecture for a couple of weeks, because essentially it was Massachusetts. Let women inherit the property, and it was the only state, and that was the basis for really the witches and who was determined to be a witch. It was a woman who was widowed and a property owner.
Oh my! The Salem now is very different from the Salem probably then. Is it a lot more touristy? Would you say?
Well, it has been touristy, yes, at Halloween.
Yeah, because I've heard from many friends that's like. That's sort of like our Christmas prelude here in Kennebunkport.
And this past Halloween, the one that we had, it was so crowded.
Yeah. They do a lot though, and gearing up for it, and they sort of take advantage of, what happened.
Well, Bewitched,
couple
the
hundred
statue that they erected to Bewitched. Okay. I'll move my nose and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, so the bookstore, have you seen trends, different trends in the time that you've been there? I know here, we've had a shift of people using a Kindle, or even cars don't have a CD player in them anymore. Do you talk to people when they come into the store about even some of the devices or even things they're reading?
I have advertising up for auditory books or audiobooks,
Yeah.
as well as for Kindle. I mean, in buying books and downloading. So they can do it. I also have an independent. I'm on the American Booksellers Association, their website, bookshop.org, which gives me 35% of the proceeds.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. So that's taken care of. And there are signs around indicating
Oh,
that.
that's great. So how would I do that?
Go to the website.
Okay. Your website?
Yeah. No, you actually go
ABA.
to bookshop.org.
Bookshop.org.
And it'll help you find the bookshop, and you go in and you can order all the books you want online.
Oh, that's great.
I got so caught up with bookshop. You were asking me, jogged my memory. Now, what was it?
We were sort of talking just different trends.
Trends
that
the one trend I noticed, and I'm still trying to figure it out, the influence of book talk. And Colleen Hoover. Colleen Hoover, if you go to the New York Times bestseller list.
1,
Colleen,
2, 3, 4.
And I'm sure she did not write all those books.
Huh. Yeah. It is interesting how sometimes that happens. I remember when Nicholas Sparks was first on the scene.
Yes.
He was a pharmaceutical rep, I think, before he became a great novelist. And I sort of remember this story of how he came to publish his first book. And I think I guess it was a win-win, because the publisher at the time they were trying to test the waters on advertising. So they took a book out of the slush pile and they said, we're going to take this one and we're going to make it great. It's all about the advertising. It had nothing to do with the book, nothing to do with this new author. Look at him now. So, but advertising is a huge part of why,
Well, as you bring that up, Bruce Coffin was in my store. He's the Portland retired lieutenant or detective, and he was finishing the next in the series, and his publisher said, nope, we're not publishing it, we're done. No more in the series. So he has a manuscript that's almost finished that's not going to be published by his publisher.
Yeah.
He was contacted immediately by another publisher asking him to co-write with another author.
Oh, wow. Which is happening a lot.
And the reason, Jodi Picoult, just mad honey. And the reason why is feeling that you're going to sell more copies if it's two authors. And that's what they told him.
What about the authors like James Patterson?
He's a mill.
So he's not writing really much of his own, right?
No, he's putting his name on and distributing, and people go crazy over it.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with the two-author, that whole philosophy of...
I don't know.
Better bang for the buck? I don't know.
And not better bang for the buck. You have two audiences you're merging.
That's true. Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And so that means more people are going to buy this book.
Casting that wider net to, okay. Because there's a lot, there's a lot of authors that have passed away and somebody has been, granted the rights to continue.
Somebody in the estate.
But with a James Patterson, he's got many different people that
he does good things. Yeah. He really does sponsor a lot of writers.
He does, yeah.
Too bad Bill Clinton, I don't know about that one.
I think, and I noticed that Hillary also wrote with Louise Penny.
Yes.
So I guess it's the thing to do these days.
Something else that's really publishers are facing is paper, paper shortages.
Yeah.
And if you take a look, let me put this here. If you take a look at books now that are coming in, they're all different sizes.
They are.
And the print is either really, really small, or if they want to make the book look bigger, really, really big.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a publisher here in town that was recently bought out by Harper,
Right.
which it actually is Murdoch. And I want to see how, and I think part of Harper wanting them is their printing technique.
Oh, okay. Huh.
So that's
Interesting.
going to affect. If you start taking a look at the binding on the books you buy,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah, it is different.
And look at the sizes.
And I notice even just this year, I would say for the last decade, the prices of an average fiction novel have stayed somewhat the same, but this year, all of a
$1.
sudden, I mean, so just in the last couple of months, I'm noticing $3-4 difference in a book, and that's a lot of money.
I'm noticing
That's what's
that
great about
in
the library.
nonfiction. It is true. I'm noticing in nonfiction it's gone up at
Yeah.
a steeper price.
Yeah.
And that may be payment, royalty issues. I'm not sure.
Paper, it could be even just the production, the production of things, and the fact that if things are being printed in China, which a lot of books are, then they have to come back over here via cargo ship or something like that. So yeah,
they have to, and getting it shipped here takes quite some time.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that's why I actually spend a lot of time keeping track of when books, bestsellers go paperback.
Yeah.
So I can put them on the shelves as soon as they come out in paperback.
Yeah, that's really smart, because I think people, and it's not the mass market paperback, the small.
Oh no.
These are nice that you can hold in your hand, similar to a hardcover, but cost at least $10 less.
Yes.
So.
Well, unfortunately, the trade paperback that's where I'm seeing the greatest variation in size.
Yeah. So when you're not running the bookstore, you are a board of trustee here at the library. You have been on our board for 6 years. Thank you very much, by the way. You've helped us out with so many things. Are there other organizations in town that you're involved with? Are you part of the Sandwiches?
I was.
Okay.
I couldn't, because of the bookstore, I couldn't commit to all the volunteer exercises.
Yeah.
They do a lot of great, wonderful things, and
Yeah.
they're a great group of women.
Yeah.
I certainly missed that.
Yeah.
I'm laughing to myself because I probably donate a lot to the Kennebunkport Resort collection, going out to dinner every night.
I've seen you out a few times. Yeah,
Yes.
that is. So
I support our restaurants.
There you go.
That's my.
That's great, though. That's great.
Well, it's nice. And
Don't like to cook?
No.
Okay.
Food doesn't interest me.
But it's great that you support our local hangouts. Do you have a favorite? It depends on the night of the week, maybe.
Oh, I like Shea Rose. I think they're a wonderful couple there. I like Hurricanes.
Yeah.
I think the changeover, new ownership of Hurricanes has been spectacular. And I do like the Boathouse.
Yeah.
And I like Old Vines, though they moved away from a gluten-free menu. And I think they're moving back, though.
Oh, good. They should, because if you go there, it'll take care of things.
Well, they used to have great flatbreads, and the gluten-free flatbreads were so good.
Yeah, that's true. So when you're not at the store and you're not at a local establishment, do you read into the middle of the night, or?
No, I don't read into the middle of the night because it's going to get cold. The house is going to get cold pretty quickly. I generally, there's a lot to clean. There's so much to do. There's always something to do.
Yeah. But it seems like, how many books would you say you read? Well, a week, would you say? Because you read a lot.
I do. I don't finish them. I mean,
Wow.
it's kind of like, I don't like this. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to recommend it, so that's done. I would say definitely 5.
Wow, that's amazing. If I can get one done a month, I'm the slowest reader on the planet.
Well, that's the hard part, yeah.
Yeah. So, but and I really enjoy, when we have our book group, our monthly book group. It's really interesting, to hear the different perspectives. But I like your take on, most of the books that we've read have been, it's really interesting to hear your, what you think about something. So, anything coming up at the bookstore, or anything coming up that's like for Prelude? Are you doing anything
Yeah,
special?
we're doing something special, but we haven't decided what.
Okay.
We're doing something.
So stay tuned.
Oh, I think, well, one of the things we were thinking about doing was with all Maine authors, and if a book takes place in Maine or is a Maine author, having 20% off.
Oh, that's a great
Pajama
idea.
shopping day.
Okay. And that's the day after?
Sunday. It's Saturday, not Sunday, Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
After Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So, okay, so next week. Okay. Excellent. Any authors, okay, so when we first started our conversation, any authors that you could think of that we could have here together?
Oh, I really like Elizabeth Strout.
Okay. So that might be a good one to pursue.
Oh, her series, and Olive Kittredge, and now Lucy in the Sea.
All right, Elizabeth, we're coming. We're coming for you. We're going to ask. That would be great.
Also Lily King.
Yeah. Yeah.
She'd be very, very good.
Yeah.
I think we don't bring in enough female authors.
Okay. All right. So maybe that's a goal for 2023.
Well, we'll see, because there might be a reason we don't bring in as many, because it's like, is a man going to come? If it's a couple, is he going to come if it's a female author? That's the question.
I guess, but I also think it's, for the most part, we do worry about that. But I think that we also just have to think about what's the subject matter of the book, and if it's somebody that we want to promote, our lecture series, we've been trying to promote Maine authors just like you do in the store, but there's a lot of people that are sort of that undiscovered gem, and it's been kind of fun to have people here that have just come out with a brand new book. This is their first, and then now 15 years later, we've got many of their books on the shelf. So
which is so nice.
Yeah, it really is. So sort of at the end of our interview, we have a rapid fire one-word answer round. Game for that?
Okay.
Do you have a favorite color?
Turquoise.
Favorite movie?
Last Picture Show.
Okay. Favorite book this week, maybe?
Hester.
Okay, Hester, good. Do you have that at the, okay, you've got it at your store. Okay, excellent. Do you have you've kind of answered the restaurant, but is there another place that, favorite restaurant, maybe it's not around here?
No, because I don't get away that much.
Okay, so we'll leave it at the ones you mentioned.
Yeah.
Favorite, coolest place you've ever been? Not temperature-wise.
Probably Cape Town.
Okay. What did you like about it?
Beautiful landscape, very cosmopolitan. It was actually spectacular looking at the ocean over cliffs.
Yeah. Oh, wow. That might have to go on our list, Mike Kelly, to go visit Cape Town. That would be kind of cool. And So if there was a book that I wanted that you didn't have, do you do special orders for people?
Well, yes, I do special orders as
Okay.
long as, and I check first. I check with Ingram to see if I can get it.
Yeah.
And how long it would take, and I definitely take special orders. And for the holidays, we have to have special orders in by I think, December 12th.
Okay, that's good to know. So if you haven't been down to Fine Print Booksellers yet, you are totally missing out. You need to go visit Kristen in her shop, and you will find probably, what is it? I just saw a little sign the other day that said something about me and a credit card in a bookstore is a really bad thing. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thanks for being on our board and being such a supporter of the Graves Library. We wish you all, great luck at the store. We hope that stays open for many years to come. So it's a great gem in Kennebunkport, and we want to thank you all for being with us tonight, and also to Mike Kelly, our producer. So we hope to see you here next time on What's Your Story?